Bring in our next guest after a quick word from Buckeye State Credit Union. If you haven't heard of him yet, meet your new favorite financial partner. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local institution offering everything from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations across the state, making it easy to find one near you. Can't get to a branch? No problem. They make banking simple through digital banking. What sets them apart? Well, they make banking personal and convenient at Buckeye. Their focus is you. Their core values: connect, simplify, and adapt. Guide everything they do, bringing people together, cutting through the clutter, and they're innovative. To learn more, visit buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in local comedian Bill Squire to the show. How you doing today, Bill?
I'm doing great. It's weird to talk to you because you're over there, but like,
I look at him and it's weird to talk to him.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
Mike, in a loving way.
No, listen, nothing you can say that would offend me.
Joe Thomas gave him his nickname, McNuggets.
McNuggets, yeah. And I heard he crushed when you guys did your live show. I heard that he brought it down. So
he really did.
So you gonna come out and do one of my shows sometime?
Bill, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because it kind of pertains to what we're talking about with football.
Right.
A lot of guys are funny when they're drinking beers with their boys.
Right.
But I've been told by people that have lived in the entertainment business. Rob Parker is a good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. He's been on the program. He's worked in the sports media business forever. Rob's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Rob does open mic nights out in L.A.
I did not know he
sends me his sets all the time, and we talk about him. And he goes, Jay, it is 1,000 times scarier than going on TV because there's one light in the room. It's on you. There's one voice that can be amplified. It's yours with the microphone. And there's 200 people that worked all week and are demanding that you make them laugh. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do. So when McNuggets got up there and did it, I thought he was going to bomb. And when he genuinely made the house laugh many, many times, I thought, wow, he's got something, that gene. Well, all you guys are different that can do that.
And it's one of those things, kind of like you're equating this to being a quarterback when the lights come on.
Sure.
It's sink or swim, and sometimes you panic and you can't. And like, listen, I bombed a lot. I've been doing this 21 years. I've bombed a lot. But there is that moment where you're in, a room full of 200 people, and you say that first thing, and you get that crack, and then it's like, oh, this is over now. I got you right off the bat. It's done. There's
it's
nothing
kind of
I
like
can
quarterbacking,
say.
isn't it? Because
I will not say that.
Well, in this, obviously, it's a much different skill set, but or golf, or like your success feeds on itself,
exactly,
and your failure feeds on it. So I've watched.
But you need those failures to learn to overcome them.
Yes.
And that's the difference. If you just keep failing, keep bombing, and you don't change anything, you don't get any better.
Is it possible to win the room once you've lost it as a comedian?
Yes,
you can. I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Really?
It's one of those things where, there's sometimes ups and downs to a set, and then there's a lot of times where you'll get the audience, and they'll just be inconsistent the whole time, where you're like, okay, they like this joke, but they didn't like this next joke, but then the 2 jokes after that they liked, and then but as long as you close strong, it's like hitting that last second shot like you're Tyrese Halliburton. If you hit that last shot, who cares?
That's true. That's what they'll remember.
Do you find that you endear yourself to the crowd if you have, like, obviously Brown's jokes have to hit well, right? Brown's jokes you could probably land those easier because they suck.
Yeah.
Do you find it easier in Cleveland or out of Cleveland to tell Brown's jokes to kind of open your setup?
Well, it depends how national the story is, because we're so ingrained in everything. And so, like, if I was just in Minneapolis, if I would have went there and started talking about Shedeur, they would have been like, oh, we don't care about Shedeur right now. Like, he was a 5th-round pick. You're going to talk about him?
Maybe the day after the draft.
Maybe the day after the draft, but like 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, like it's not top of mind anymore. But then, like, big story like Deshaun Watson's jokes when he first
those work wherever, whenever.
Those are working, those, and like, if there was like a villain on a team, or just just general Brown stink jokes, like those will endear you to a crowd, and then you can go at their teams too, which is always fun to do. Like when you're in a city like Chicago talking about the Bears. Like I was just in Chicago in February, and
they're low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, low-hanging fruit. Just talking about like how they're abusing kids by making them go to Bears games and stuff like that.
It's not a lie.
Let's talk. This is interesting to me. Let's talk censorship, right?
Yeah.
So like it used to, when I grew up, it used to be where there's a couple of people that got to say anything they want.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was like your father, because you couldn't do nothing about it. He was the king of the house.
Yeah.
The other one was comedians.
Yeah.
Comedians was like, you guys could talk about race, you guys could talk about religion, you could talk about gender, you could talk about all those things. Do you find it more difficult to do your job now than it was in previous times because of the way that our society has kind of put different topics off limits?
I think it's actually easier to talk about stuff now because there's so much of it happening. And if you have a good take and you have a funny way of presenting it, you can get away with it. And yeah, there's gonna be backlash, and there's always backlash. There's always been backlash when it comes to humor. But you see a guy like Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock, those guys at the highest levels, they'll say stuff, but no matter what they say, there's always going to be backlash on everything they say. Mm-hmm. There's no 100%.
Social media,
yeah, social media.
Too.
I mean, there's probably people talking crap about me right now in the comments, because that's what people do in this day and age. So like, I think if you have a good take and you can be funny, and you see like a guy like Shane Gillis, who got fired before he even started his job, is now selling out arenas and has like one of the biggest shows on Netflix. And he talks about whatever he wants. So I think there's an audience for it, and there's now, like, comedy's never been bigger. So there's an audience for everybody.
Sure.
So you can have a guy like Matt Rife, who might not be for us, but he's going to sell out Rocket Arena because he's got a huge audience that wants to hear what he has to do.
Right? Like I feel like Matt's rise in the business has been driven by the 45-second social clip.
Yep.
And whoever manages his social, and I don't know if it's him or if he's got a staff or a person that does it.
Yeah, I think it's staff now, but I think he started
brilliant.
it. Yeah.
And I'm sure it was him in the early days.
Yeah.
But what I love, to me, what makes somebody, and this is why I'm familiar with Mike Polk's stuff, obviously, because I work with him. But what makes Mike so funny is his ability to be spontaneously funny in the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's that quick wit that I admire. And Matt
dry.
seems to have that. And dry is Mike is very dry.
Mike is so dry, but he's so funny, and he's so clever. And he's one of those guys that I've known, since I started. And he can just he'll show up to a show 15 minutes late, see him all like rattled, like he's not gonna do, and then go and just do the funniest thing you've ever seen. He has a great example of that where he talks about his niece's non-binary friend.
Yeah.
And he's got a routine where he is basically doing who's on first, but it's like a they-them joke. But it's so funny and well written that that's what I'm saying. Like, you can make those kinds of jokes. It's just gotta be funny. Like if you're just going out there and saying mean stuff, then like that's not necessarily funny. Yeah. But if look at the biggest people in podcasting and comedy are, they're claiming censorship, but like, who's censoring Joe Rogan? Like he was saying a lot of stuff, and they pulled an episode or two.
It's harder to cancel people, I think. I think before, the idea of, because everyone was afraid of being canceled.
Yeah.
And that meant, well, corporate America said, we don't want you.
Right.
We're not going to touch you. So Roseanne gets fired from ABC, canceled.
Yeah.
But what's interesting now about the media landscape today, and there are guys that have come out, and I think Chappelle's one of them, and he's just flat said, cancel me.
Try it. Yeah.
You can't.
You can't.
Because now we all have our own distribution method.
Yeah.
Canceling would be putting you in a silo and your message can't get out. That used to be easy. Today, you can't cancel Chappelle. No one can silence Chappelle.
The gatekeepers aren't there like there used to.
Right, exactly.
Because of social media, because of the access that people have direct to their fans. Whereas even if Joe Rogan got let go by Spotify, he can just still put out his podcast
on his own platform,
and like he can do whatever. And so when it comes to like that little era of canceling that we had in like the 2017, 2018, whatever that was with Roseanne, there was like the people that were like getting canceled were the ones that were doing like sexual misconduct. Like the people that said stuff, like you get a slap on the wrist and then you come back usually okay. And I've seen the pendulum swing both ways throughout my career, because when I started was right after the whole Super Bowl thing, and everybody was afraid to say anything at that time, because that's when Stern went to war with the FCC about all his stuff going on in his program, and he made the jump to XM or Sirius or whatever, and so like you've seen it go one way then the other and back and forth.
One quick question: who's the most? I gotta get you in trouble. Which one? Who is the most famous not funny person?
Oh, most famous not funny person.
But people love him. But they like, bro, this is not funny. In your opinion?
In my opinion, so a lot of the guys that, and it's as a stand-up, I'll leave it as that. Rob Schneider.
Wow, shots fired.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
You know what? I won't disagree with that. I see some of his stuff, and I'm like, his sketch stuff was great.
Yeah.
But as a stand-up, I feel like he's miscast. He's just not good in that.
Yeah,
in
and
that space.
That's the guy
He
that
feels like he looks uncomfortable to me.
Right. And I saw him open for Sandler, and like it's just kind of like repurposed street jokes. Like nothing felt all that original when he'd be out on stage doing stand up. But like his movies, like I'll watch Deuce Bigelow on a loop.
Right.
Like I love
Sure,
that movie.
I know, it's great.
And he's good in sketches. He's good in small roles in Adam Sandler movies. But his stand up has always been kind of eh.
Yeah,
Somebody
that's well
find
said.
your job is to find Dane Cook. Where is he at?
Yeah, I know.
I just drove past.
Jason, I know you went to a couple Dane Cook.
But
that looks like your man's. That's your cousin.
He blew up and then he vanished.
He blew up in college.
Yeah.
He was.
What did happen to him?
He was a victim of his own success. So with Dane Cook, he got so big and was doing arenas, but like wasn't really writing any material. So he did a whole special where he riffed the whole special at Madison Square Garden.
That's risky.
It's a sold-out show. He filmed it with college students. Like he had
I remember that one. That was the one I remember.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, and so he got real big, and then he got accused of stealing a joke from Louis C.K., and that kind of dropped him down.
Louis C.K., there's another guy that just poof.
Yeah, but he's still bad.
He's coming back.
He's a legend.
Yeah, he is, but
he had
the stories against him made everybody go, damn, I'm not easily offended, but that's pretty offensive.
But then he's also done sold-out shows at Madison Square Garden since, so like he's doing fine.
What do you have coming up?
Tonight I'm at Imposters Theater over on Lorraine. That's tonight, and then I do weekly shows that I love for people to come out. I got One Star Bar Mondays, Brothers Lounge on Tuesday, East End in Lakewood on Wednesday, and then High and Dry on Thursday. So I do I do local
Jay
shows.
Leno of the circuit.
Right, and I give a lot of local comics, an audience to perform in front of, and like we have a really strong comedy scene right now. So even if you don't like me, like my protege, I'll call him as Elijah Nevels. He's 20 years old. He's gonna be 21 next week, and this dude kills it. He's so funny. And he's like just like a good kid too, and so I love seeing the success that we have with our comedy scene, and like take a lot of pride in it because in Cleveland we love our sports teams, we love our city so much, but there's other aspects of it that like we should be proud of, and our comedy scene is definitely part of that.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Great to get to know you. Do you have a website that people can follow? Where
BillSquire.com.
BillSquire.com.
Yep.
Easy enough to remember. Bill, thank you.
I was so nervous I was gonna have to talk about sports.
No, we're more interested in what you do. Yeah.
Also, I didn't know G. Bush was like a mountain of a man.
Like everybody that sees G. Bush in person says that.
Yeah.
And they'd be like,
I tell people, think Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
Like he's a big human being.
Yeah, I did not know that. Because they always frame you from the shoulders up.
Right.
So you just look like
he's
a regular dude. And then you get like, you see how high his knees are up. And you're like, oh, okay, this dude's big.
G's a legit 6'4", 320.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm working on the
it's
320
painful.
part, but it's okay. Like,
Bill, thanks, man.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate
Appreciate
That's
it.
Bill. That's Bill
Go
Squire.
catch
You
him
can
if
find
you
his
can.
stuff at BillSquire.com. Thanks.